Hello and welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to have fun creating our own custom foiled cardstocks for our cards. And to do that we're going to be using this really useful Glimmer of the Month kit from Spellbinders. And in the kit you not only get these pieces, this cool stripy background, the sentiments which say, "Our story is my favourite," "Magical wishes for you," "Enjoy your new chapter," and "Coffee, books and you," which coordinates really nicely with this month's club's theme of like books and stories. And then you get the die to cut those out, but you also get a foil each month. And for me that's really nice to build a new colour of foil into my collection each month. And this month it's that gorgeous cobalt blue. So we're going to be using this on our cards today. So this could be used in a lot of ways. You could use it kind of across to create a pattern. You could build it up to make a full pattern. You could use it like this and then like that to kind of make a crosshatch pattern. I'm going to use it fairly simply today. I'm not going to do the crosshatch because I don't feel like my cards need that. I just thought I'd discuss it because I think there's a lot of ways to use this. So for this card I've got a 5-inch square bright pink piece of card, and I'm going to put my foil across the middle. So then I'm going to add my foil across my card like that. Then I'm going to add this on, and then I'm going to take this down. So then you can see my hot foil machine is heated up. So then I'm just going to pop this down like that so that the plate is at the back, and I'm going to pop on my timer. So then the timer button has stopped flashing, so I know it's ready. So I'm going to add on my 2 plates and pop it through my die cutting machine. So then I can put this straight back into here for the next one. And then let's just peel this off. And then we've got this gorgeous shiny blue pattern on our card. So now I've cut this piece down, and I often make pieces like this the size of my card front, so that then when I'm building up my card I've got the option of cutting them down or keeping them the size of my card. And also it helps with things like this. I didn't actually make any mistakes on this, but often it's the edges where you make mistakes on things like this, and it's nice to be able to cut them off if you need to. So I've got a navy card blank, 5-inch square, and I've just cut this down to 1/4 of an inch smaller than that now. So I'm going to glue that to my card front. And then I've got 2 circles, one from this kind of corally colour and one from the navy. I'm going to glue those together. And I'm going to add that to my card front as well. And then I'm going to use the stitching die of the month to decorate it, but I'm not going to stitch on it. And I'll pop the image for the stitching die of the month on now so that you can see there's books and all sorts that come with it, but I'm just going to use the cup and the flowers today. And you can see I've layered the detail part of the cup that you would usually stitch onto some gold foil, and I think that just looks really lovely as it is. So I'm not going to stitch this one today. I think that these are really lovely to stitch. I think they're really lovely to create patterns and layer up your cards. And I also think it's nice to put like gems and things over the holes. So I think there's a lot of different things you can do with these stitching dies. And I'll also pop below a link to a card that I made last week where I did stitch them, so that you can see that if you want to go and have a look. And you can also see on there how I made up like the flowers and things like that if you need any further details on that. So I've got my cup, I've got my flowers, and I've also used those included sentiments that I showed you earlier to hot foil. Now I did it onto 2 colours because I wasn't sure which one I'd want to use, but I think it's nice for you to see them both. So this is the pink with the blue, and it's really difficult to see on screen, but it looks really lovely in real life. And then I've also done gold on navy with the same sentiments. So you can see it cuts out all 4 at once. So now I've got a nice selection of sentiments to use on my cards. I think I'm going to go with this Coffee Books and You in the navy. And I'm going to pop that underneath my teacup. So I'm going to add sentiment on with foam pads. And I'm going to add on my cup. And then I'm going to use some foam pads behind some of these as well. And all of these products that I'm using today are linked in the description for this video. And I also have put on the caboodle, because if you like a lot of these kits, then I think the caboodle is the best way to go, because it's really heavily discounted. You get all of the month's kits and you get an extra kit, and the one for this month is really cool. It's like a fairy tale castle die. It's really nice. And then you get discounts off any other purchases that you make from Spellbinders. You actually get that when you subscribe to any of the monthly clubs. So it's a really nice thing to do. And I really like how that card came out. This stitching die of the month is my absolute favourite this month. It's just so pretty. And I just think it's so useful as well, because you can like use it with or without the books, like we've done here. We haven't used the books. You could use the books on their own and create a stack of books. You can use the flowers on their own. You can do it stitched, not stitched. There's just so many ways of using it. I really love it. Okay, so for this next card, I have just got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of white cardstock. I've hot foiled our pattern across the bottom. You can see how pretty that looks. And then I want to move it up and hot foil it across the top as well. To hot foil across here, I don't want the foil to be much wider than my actual card, even though the plate is wider than that. So I'm going to cut the foil down so that it fits the rest of my card rather than fitting my plate. So then I'm going to add the foil like this, and I'm going to add the foil across there, just under that set of lines, and then I'm going to add my plate just under that, so that hopefully then it will continue the pattern of lines across. So then I'll pop that on my machine like that and press the timer. I'm putting it across this way because I always think it's easier to foil where we've got something square like that. I don't want it to go through my die cutting machine with the biggest edge first. I want the smallest edge first where possible. It just goes through the die cutting machine easier like that. So now the timer's finished, so I can pop it through my hot foil machine. And you can see where this was overlapping the card, I've got some overfoiling on my plates. You don't need to worry too much about that. They'll still work absolutely fine. So then I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's almost seamless where the pattern from the first print starts and the other one finishes. So then on this one, I'm going to put some Evergreen Bough ink over. So this is a Distress Oxide ink, which for me is the easiest ink to use to do blending. But because it's Distress Oxide ink, it means that as you put it on, it's going to dull the shine that we've got from the foiling. So there are two things that you can do. Either you can leave it like that, because actually it's a really nice way of making a pattern paper that's not shiny, if that's what you want. Or you can then go in, as I'm going to do in a minute, with some paper towel or a cloth and rub off the excess ink from the foiling. You can also, if you want to make sure you don't lose any of the shine from that foil, do the foiling after you've done the inking. So for me, the longer part of the process is the foiling. So I prefer to get that on, and then if a plate slips or something goes wrong with the foiling, then I've not wasted my inking process as well. I feel like the inking process is unlikely to go wrong, so that's why I do that afterwards. But it's a bit like the emboss resist technique when you're heat embossing. The foil just resists the ink and you can rub it off. And if you have a look now at the middle pieces compared to the pieces that I haven't rubbed off, you can see how much shinier they are. So you can see that's back to being really shiny again now. And it's really nice because now we've got our own completely customized piece of foiled cardstock. We've chosen the colour of the foil, we've chosen the colour of the background, we've got it the direction that we want. It's so nice to be able to just choose exactly what you want. So then I've grabbed a navy card blank that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I've cut this down to 1/4 inch smaller than that so I can glue that onto the front of my card. So then I've cut this arch from navy cardstock using this Essential Arches die set, and then I'm going to glue that to the front of my card. Then I've got this Magical Wishes for You sentiment that is one of the ones that we did for the last card. So I love that you get 4 at once. And then I've got this cute owl, which is the small die of the month for this month, and I've used this in every video I've done for this month's cards because it's so cute. If you want to see the step-by-step of how I made this up, then you can find that on the video that I did last week. It's also the same one that I mentioned earlier where you can see the stitching for the teacup. So I'll link that below. And then there's this cute little letter. So the set comes with a book for him to stand on if you want to as well. But for this one I'm just going to use this little letter because I think that magical wishes, maybe the magical wishes are in the letter. And then how cute is that? So then for my final card, I've hot foiled just at the bottom onto some watercolour cardstock. So then I'm going to grab some of this dark pink. This is my Altenew watercolour palette. I'm going to start off at the top, just putting some of this on. Then I'm going to grab some yellow. And then finally I'm going to go into some blue. And then we've got this gorgeous background, and the hot foiling resists the paint, so that still shows through really nicely. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. And while that's drying, I've got this gnome with the books underneath from the Stamp and Die of the Month set for this month. And I'm going to stamp him on this really ratty looking piece of cardstock. But I'm doing that on purpose because I'm going to die cut it out. So I can stamp him here, die cut it out, and I've used up that bit of cardstock. So it didn't turn out so well the first time, so all I did was flip over that piece of card and stamp it again on the other side in the exact same place, and then I've not wasted that bit of cardstock. And then I'm going to go in with my alcohol markers and colour it. So then that's that coloured, and I've also cut it out with a coordinating die. So there's a coordinating die for every stamp on this stamp set apart from these two teeny ones. And I've cut this down to be 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So I'm going to glue that to my navy card blank. It's funny how things turn out because I didn't actually intend to have all my card blanks be navy today, but it's worked out that that's been the nicest colour for each card. So then I've cut another navy arch, and I've got my thing, and this time I'm going to use Our Story Is My Favourite. So I'm going to pop that up. So I'm going to stick these foam pads across the bottom of here, and that way I know they're not going to hang off the end of my sentiment. And then I'll pop my sentiment across. Now I'm going to pop some foam pads behind my gnome as well. And then I can just add my little topper to my card. And then we've got a cute card with our completely customised foiled background paper. So there are today's cards. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and different ways of creating our own custom foiled backgrounds. We've only used one foil plate and one colour of foil, but we've got this one where we've just customised our plain cardstock with a strip across the middle. We've got this one where we used it twice with the ink, so we could get any colour background that we've got the ink for that one. And then this one that we used with our watercolours on watercolour paper. You can just create so many different backgrounds with whatever you've got on hand. And again, the placement is completely custom for our individual cards. So I'd love for you to let me know in the comments which is your favourite of today's cards. And if you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you could also press like below. And you can press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are linked in the description below. And there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.